All right, we are going to start. Thank you for waiting, everyone. Okay, we are calling to order at 6:05. And do we want to suggest moving first? Oh, I'm so sorry. Forgot about the minutes.
It's been a long time.
Well, let's do a roll call. Andy Race? Here. Allie Mayer?
Here.
Art Highland?
Here.
Bob Cantrell?
Present.
Daniel Revelo?
Here.
Paul Engelman?
Here.
Carl Ganevu?
Here.
Is that correct?
Here.
We have quorum.
All right. All right, can motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Who called the second?
Control.
All right.
Sorry.
Andy Race?
I don't care.
He sits next to me.
Do you want to say aye for the minutes?
Do you guys want to just signify by saying aye for the minutes?
Sure.
Oh, how it works for
Okay.
you.
Okay.
All right, please say aye. Oh, okay.
Just
do a roll call. Just do a roll call.
Okay.
We'll do roll call. Andy Race?
Aye.
Bob Cantrell?
Aye.
Art Highland?
Yeah.
Paul Engelman?
Aye.
Daniel Revelo?
Aye.
Carl Ganevu?
Aye.
The minutes are approved.
Can you tell we haven't had a meeting in a while?
Yeah, I'm a little rusty, yes.
Yeah.
You. Pretty sure it was me. All right, I'd like to call for a motion to move, to amend, agenda to move 2019-05 to the first case.
You can simply do that by unanimous consent. There being no objection.
Okay.
No.
No, okay, can I just have unanimous consent to move that to the first case?
Hearing no objection. we move forward.
Hearing no objections, we're moving forward. All right. All right, opening case 2019-05 at 6:08.
This is a subdivision replat, so it is not a public hearing. The applicant is requesting final plat approval of Plat 3 of Town Hall Industrial Park. The plat is a replat of Lot 12 of Plat 1 and consists of 2 lots equaling 3.14 acres. The property was annexed into the city in '98. And it was rezoned to I-2, which was a heavy industrial district. In 2006, it was rezoned to HI, which is the new heavy industrial district. The first plat was approved in '99. The second plat was approved in 2002. And this is a replat of the '99 plat. Request for comments was sent out to 17 different agencies. And their responses have made the 17 conditions of approval. And those 17 conditions of approval are: all public improvements shall be completed in accordance with approved construction plans for the development. A performance bond or letter of credit is required for all public improvements on forms provided by the city and must be submitted prior to recording of the final plat approval and release of the construction plans for the development by the Director of Public Works. A construction inspection fee in the amount of 3% of the approved engineer's estimate of cost for the public improvements must be paid to the city clerk prior to the approval and release of the construction plans for the development by the Director of Public Works. Prior to approval of the final plat for this subdivision, the developer shall pay all normal, customary, and standard permit inspection, tap-on, connection, recapture base, and other fees that are required by the city at the time of final plat submittal. A drain overlay for this plat needs to be submitted for review and approval prior to the final plat approval. All lots shown on this plat must have sanitary sewer and water service stubs to the property line in accordance with city subdivision standards. Show 2 concrete monuments at opposite corners per 765 LCS 205-1. No monument found or set at PC of curve on south line of lot 16. Identify solid and open circles shown at property corners as either being set or found monuments. Remove found 5/8 inch IP notes at the northwest and southwest corner of lot 15. These are new corners, so how can the monuments be found? Identify existing easements with the recording information for the easement, i.e. 12-inch utility easement, 12-foot utility easement per document number 2005 RO 2019. The duplicate Public Works Director certificate block shall be replaced with the drainage overlay certificate block. The building setback line shall be changed to 45 feet. The stormwater management plan note shall reflect the Boone County Soil and Water Conservation District's updated information. Their address is 211 North Appleton Road, Belvidere, Illinois 61008, and their phone number is 815-544-2677, extension 3. The revised plat shall be presented to the Planning Department for review and approval before any signatures are obtained. The plat shall be recorded with the County Recorder of Deeds within 90 days of City Council approval unless a plat recording extension is granted. The final plat shall be in compliance with all other applicable codes, ordinances, and agreements. So basically, there's one lot. They have a buyer for that lot, but they only need half of the property. So they're splitting the lot in half so that they can sell it to the developer. And most of the conditions of the plat are a letter of credit, stuff like that, that never gets done until after the plat's approved. There are conditions as a reminder. But nothing significant that would change the layout of the plat or any easements or anything like that.
All right, does the commission have any questions of staff?
Could you explain conditions 7 through 10 regarding the monuments? What are we talking about?
I believe that the monuments are, they're monument markers, so they're little dots on the plat that show at this part is where your pin's going to be buried, so that if a surveyor goes out, they can follow the dimensions on the plat to locate the pins. Yeah, it's not like a above ground stone monument marker or anything like that.
Any further questions? Okay, does the applicant or any interested parties have any questions of staff?
No.
All right, thank you. All right, does the applicant have, sorry. Does the applicant have a testimony they would like to present?
Sure. If you can come up, sir, and you know what, I can bring you if it's easier. Horrible mic. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, no problem.
Hello. Oh, it works. I'm Dan Erickson with Landmark Development. We developed that subdivision initially, so back in 98, 99. So we have an opportunity now to sell part of this lot. Gary Lindenberg's the owner of the lot, who's here tonight, and it's going to be for a company called Fastenal. They provide fasteners. They've got a number of locations around the area. They would build about a 6,000 square foot building, so they don't need a huge lot. And that's the reason for subdividing it. And we'll comply with all the requirements. Really, the only public improvements I'm aware of is we're going to have to add a sewer and water connection to the new lot. All the other roads and everything else are already built. All the stormwater's been detained and so on with the original subdivision. So all those conditions are just, matter of fact for public works, and our civil engineer will comply with all these things when we file the final plat.
All right, does the commission have any questions of the applicant? Yes.
The company that's going in there, do they make the fasteners in this building, or is this just a...
No, it'd be for sales.
Yeah.
They've got a location right now on Newburgh, which I
yeah.
think they'll probably be relocating from there.
Fastenal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Use your microphone, please.
I'm done.
I know.
Any other questions? All right, does any interested parties have any questions of the applicant? All right, hearing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So you should simply call a motion to approve the case.
All right, can I get a motion to approve case 2019-05?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Bob Cantrell,
Yes.
Art Highland,
Yes.
Andy Race,
Yes.
Paul Engelmann,
Aye.
Daniel Revelo,
Aye.
Carl Ganevu.
Aye.
The case is approved.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna open case number 2019-01 at 6:17.
Do you want to describe what the case is, or you want her to?
Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do. Gina Delrose, Community Development Planner.
Jim, before you get too far along the lines, my guess a lot of people are here for a subsequent case. This case has to do with the property on Beloit Road, correct?
This is 982 Belvidere Road, commonly known as the Anytime
not
Fitness
Belvidere.
Building.
Okay.
Before I start, the certified mailings were sent out on February 20th, and it was published in the paper on February 22nd. The applicant, Ryan Crombie, at 201 South 8th Street in South Beloit, on behalf of the property owner, JBLH Properties, at the same address, is requesting a special use to permit indoor commercial entertainment to operate a bar with video gaming at 982 Belvidere Road in Belvidere. It's a zone plan business. It's approximately 1.25 acres. The property is developed with an 18,000 square foot, two-story multi-tenant building and parking area. To the north and east is vacant. To the south is a gas station and multifamily. To the west is Emmanuel Lutheran Church and school. To the north and east is planned business. To the south is a mix of planned business and SR4 single family. The multifamily is permitted by special use. And to the west is SR3 single family and I institutional. The comp plan shows the whole area being general business except for institutional to the west. The property is part of the Logan Square subdivision, platted in 2003. The two-story building was constructed in 2004. There is a gym, frozen yogurt store, martial arts studio, staffing agency, and a bar with video gaming. The existing parking lot has 74 parking spaces for all the tenants to share. Peak hours for indoor commercial land uses are often later in the day when businesses such as the staffing agency will be closed. Alternating peak business times lessens the need for additional parking. The zoning ordinance was adopted in 2006, requiring a special use for indoor commercial entertainment. Bars and taverns that were in existence prior to the date have been considered grandfathered for the bar use. In 2013, Illinois state law allowed municipalities to determine whether video gaming would be permitted within their jurisdiction. The state limits the number of machines to 5 per establishment, and every establishment must have a liquor license that allows for the pouring of alcohol, except for those that qualify as a truck stop. In 2013, Belvidere voted to allow video gaming, and in 2018, the city council voted to limit the number of gaming establishments to 30. The applicant is aware that although the special use will be granted, the special use will grant the ability to operate a bar. There is no guarantee that a video gaming license will be available. The requested special use is for indoor commercial entertainment. As stated previously, It's located in the planned business district where similar land uses have developed, including the subject property and the multi-tenant building to the north. In addition to indoor commercial entertainment, the subject property, along with nearby properties, have several other commercial uses. They vary at peak operating hours, lessening the burden of parking and vehicle circulation. The comp plan shows the property and adjacent properties staying as being general business. Food establishments, bars, taverns, and arcades are considered appropriate uses in the general business category. The general business district encourages indoor commercial office, institutional, and controlled outdoor display land uses with moderate landscaping and signage. The special use will be in compliance with the comprehensive plan. The site will be required to be in conformance with the requirements of the City of Belvidere zoning ordinance. The plan staff is not aware of any negative issues that similar developments have caused to surrounding properties. Access to the property is from a private road that connects to both Logan Avenue and East 6th Street. The closest residence is approximately 250 feet away and is also accessed by East 6th Street. 6th Street is a controlled intersection and can accommodate the traffic. The establishment will add to the mix of land uses within the area. There's adequate parking and vehicle access to the property. The planning staff does not anticipate that the special use will deter development when previous businesses have not. The nearby residential property is developed with multifamily housing. Multifamily land uses are often located adjacent to commercial and industrial developments and to act as a buffer to single-family residential neighborhoods. Staff recommends approval of case 2019-1 for a special use at 982 Belvidere Road, subject to the following condition. The special use is only for the tenant space commonly known as 982 Belvidere Road.
All right, does the commission have any questions of staff?
Is this the last request? What are we now, 29 or establishments already?
So there have been 26 video gaming licenses issued. The special use is for a bar, which is what you need for the video gaming. And the applicant is aware that there are more than 30 special uses approved. So at this point, it's just whoever gets their state permit first is going to get those last 4 licenses available. After that, your special use is approved for the bar, but you cannot get a video gaming machine unless some other business closes. And the applicant is aware of that, so.
And for the edification of new people to the commission, the special use that we're talking about allows a much broader range of uses beyond just video gaming. It would be required for any kind of bar or tavern, whether or not they have video gaming, a pool hall, a store that perhaps had card games going on in the store, several other uses. So you can get the special use and it would be required even though you're not doing video gaming.
You keep a list of applicants for video gaming in terms of where people are waiting to see if they can get
Yes.
a license?
I have a list that me and the city clerk update regularly because I keep all the special uses, the approval dates, and then whenever the clerk issues the local video gaming license, she notifies me so I can update the list. I have a copy of it and she has a copy of it so we can both keep track.
There is no waiting list for the
There's no
permits.
waiting list?
No. It's first come, first served basis only.
It is first come, first serve, but this way I know how many have been applied for, how many licenses have been issued, how many are left, but, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if video gaming adds anything to our community, but,
Money.
it's here, If you followed a little bit in Rockford, they're trying to get the state, they're not home rule, so they can't increase the fees for video gaming, where the city here can, because we're home rule. And I think that's important to note, as we move forward.
We did increase the fees this year.
Yep. I would also ask the members, please remember to use the microphones because this is broadcast on TV and they can't hear you if you don't use your microphone.
That's the idea.
I'm sorry.
But I get the calls from people complaining, so.
What is the current charge or fee for the license for video gaming?
Is it 500 a machine or 250?
Keep going, I'll give you an answer to that in a second.
It was 100 and we upped it from that.
What is the current fee for liquor license?
$10,000.
10,000 for a new one, and then the renewals are less than that, but the initial fee is 10,000.
Used to be 20.
Is the fee for the video license, is there a cap? How did we come to that figure?
Like I said, it was 100, and then there was talks of increasing it, and some thought it was too much too soon, a little bit of sticker shock, so I think they met in the middle.
Home municipalities are limited by state law to $25 per machine per year. I'm sorry, not home rule units are limited. Home rule units are not limited at all. So when it first came out, there was kind of a feeling out period, how much can we get away with, so to speak. Honestly, that's what was going on. We started out at $100, which was kind of common in the area. A couple of municipalities close to Chicago went to $1,000 off the bat. Of course, litigation followed. The municipalities won. So they saw a lot of the home rule municipalities going to $1,000 a machine. I want to say we went to $250, if I remember correctly.
500 was initially discussed, and then it went to the middle at 250.
As it regards this property, I mean, is there, as far as hours of operation, any limitation?
No, in the planned business district, there are no limited hours of operation. Obviously, you can only serve liquor within the hours that the liquor license allows you, which is 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. And I believe video gaming machines can only be functional while there's liquor sales. So when the liquor sales end, the video gaming has to shut off.
The fee went to $500. It's commencing May 1 of, I believe, this year. May have been last year. And that's per machine per year.
Say it again, $500 per machine per year.
Mm-hmm. And that's in addition to the city receives, the revenues on the gross profit are split a third to the gaming machine owner, a third to the establishment owner who owns the actual facility it's in, and a third to the state. The city gets 5% of the state's cut.
Big deal.
6 figures of income for us.
Good.
Any more questions? All right, does the applicant or any interested parties have any questions of staff? All right, hearing none. Does the applicant have any testimony that they would like to present? No. Okay. Does the commission have any questions of the applicant? All right, hearing none.
I mean, will there be food serviced or no?
And actually, she hasn't
we're-
come forward and been sworn yet, so if you
Yeah.
can come up to the microphone there, please.
Can you please state your name?
Amber Reed.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you. You can proceed.
There's no kitchen, so there will be no food, unless it's like prepackaged chips or candy bars. We do just plan to do like espresso coffees and stuff as well.
So is this is the kind of the plan to be a video gaming establishment that serves alcohol, or a establishment that serves alcohol that just happens to have video gaming?
I think it's planned to be that has both.
Well, you gotta have a bar to have it.
Yeah, both of them.
There's a lot of bars.
Any other questions for the applicant?
So no music being played, no live bands?
No,
None
I
of
don't
that.
think there'd even be room for a live band yet.
Right, okay.
All right. Hearing no other questions, we're going to move on. All right. Okay, can I have a motion to approve?
You may want to close the public hearing first.
Oh,
So moved.
Wait one moment. I'm closing public hearing for case 2019-01 at 6:30. And I have a motion to approve case 2019-01 with the findings of facts. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
I want to do findings of fact first.
Okay.
Can I have a motion to approve findings of facts?
Second.
Okay. All right. Then a motion to approve.
No.
Is
Is there any discussion on the findings of fact?
Shoot, thank you. Is there any discussions on the findings of facts? And there being none, roll call, please.
Andy Race,
Yes?
Art Highland,
Yes.
Bob Cantrell,
Yes.
Paul Engelmann,
Aye.
Daniel Revelo, Carl Gnebu.
Aye.
The findings of fact are approved as presented in the staff report.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve case 2019-01 with the findings of fact
So moved.
and condition
Second.
for cripes?
Bob Cantrell,
Yes.
Art Highland,
Yes.
Andy Race,
Yes.
Paul Engelmann,
Aye.
Daniel Revelo,
Aye.
Carl Gnebu.
Aye.
The case is approved, subject to the condition.
All right, opening case 2019-02 at 6:32. Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do. Gina Delrose, Community Development Planner. This case is for special use at 1550 Pearl Street. Certified mailings were sent out on February 20th, and it was published in the Journal on February 22nd. Everyone should have the amended staff report in front of them. The applicant, Ryan Crombie, at 201 South 8th Street in South Beloit, on behalf of the property owner, LHC Properties, at the same address, is requesting a special use to permit indoor commercial entertainment, specifically an event center at 1550 Pearl Street Road in the neighborhood office district on approximately 24,500 square feet of property, which is developed with a vacant office building and parking area. In the last case, we talked about how the indoor commercial entertainment land use encompasses many things. This is a perfect example. The previous was for a bar tavern. This is for an event center, although it's under the same land use category. The subject property is currently vacant. To the northeast and west is residential, and to the south is a parking lot and residential. It's zoned neighborhood office, and all adjacent property is SR6 single-family residential. And the property on the comp plan is shown as being institutional, with the adjacent property being single-family. In 1989, a special use was granted for the property to allow the continuation of a non-conforming use, which was offices, within a residential zoning district. In 1993, the property owner applied for and was approved a zoning change from residential to C1 office residential district. This request was to help bring the building and business operations into full compliance with the city's zoning ordinance. Records show that the Secretary of State's Vehicle Services had occupied the building as early as 1982. In 2006, with the adoption of the new zoning code, the property was zoned neighborhood office. This zoning district is for low-intensity development suitable for residential areas, much like the C1 office residential district. The neighborhood office district is intended to permit high-quality office land uses at an intensity compatible with the older residential portions of the city. The district is used to provide for the permanent protection of an area which preserves the original residential appearance, yet permits office land uses, and which ensures that the neighborhood character is maintained. Restrictions placed on businesses within the neighborhood office district are residential architecture, increased landscaping, and business hours limited to 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Signage is also limited compared to other business districts. The indoor commercial entertainment land use category includes a multitude of land uses that often have later operating hours, such as taverns, theaters, bowling alleys, arcades, roller rinks, and pool halls. The neighborhood office zoning district only permits businesses to operate until 11 p.m., which is not as late as typical indoor commercial entertainment land uses. However, it is later than the majority of businesses that have been located on the property throughout the years. Conditions of approval, which serve to lessen the potential negative impacts of events occurring on the property, will be placed on the request. The previous long-term tenant was the Secretary of State's Vehicle Services, which created a large amount of traffic at times. The SOS, however, closed at 5 p.m. and was not open on the weekends. Event centers are usually busier later in the day and on weekends. However, they may not operate every day like a typical business. The size of the events will be based on the building's occupancy level and available parking. A privacy fence will be required to help shield adjacent properties from lights and noise. The comprehensive plan designates the subject property as institutional. This designation was most likely chosen due to the long-term occupancy of the Secretary of State's Vehicle Services, which is an institutional land use, because it's the government agency. Institutional land uses are civic land uses, but can also include recreational facilities, educational facilities, nonprofit clubs, and fraternal organizations, and community residential land uses. An event center has the potential to create the same impact on the neighborhood as most institutional land uses. Although the indoor commercial entertainment land use allows for a variety of potential businesses, conditions of approval placed on the request will require any potential business to operate in a manner similar to those already permitted or encouraged by the comprehensive plan. The subject property is located approximately 315 feet from a hospital, less than 550 feet from property zone general business, and approximately 700 feet from a large commercial development, which includes Pacemaker. The building is approximately 3,200 square feet larger than the residential structures in the neighborhood, but small for an event center. The size of the building and available parking will determine the kind of events that are able to occur on the property. Use of a bar tavern open to the general public may not be appropriate on the subject property. The more consistent coming and going of patrons and traffic may not be compatible with surrounding residential uses. Event centers are one of the lower impact land uses of the indoor commercial entertainment category. Patrons of an event center may consume alcohol, but that is not the business's primary function. Traffic may be heavy at times, such as when the event starts and ends, but cars will not be coming and going all day like a traditional business that has set hours, and the conditions of approval will restrict the operating hours to 11 p.m. So even if the code changes later on to allow like 24-hour operating hours, they're still tied to the 11 p.m. because that's part of the special use condition. The event center will be able to be utilized by all residents, unlike other land uses in the indoor commercial entertainment category that only cater to a specific demographic. Nearby residents that do not have adequate yard space or room in their home to host events can utilize the subject property. The special use will be required to operate within the same parameters as other uses in the neighborhood office district. The planning staff recommends approval of case number 2019-02 for a special use for indoor commercial entertainment at 1550 Pearl Street, subject to the following 7 conditions. The hours of operation shall be limited to 11 p.m. Substantial compliance with the submitted site plan. The privacy fence shall not inhibit the privacy fence shall not inhibit safe site distance for motorists entering and leaving the property. If a barrier is utilized to close off the parking lot, ingress, egress, it shall not be a fence-like structure. Such barrier shall not cause vehicles entering the property to block the sidewalk or back up onto Pearl Street. Consumption of alcohol is prohibited outside the premises. Parking lot light fixtures shall adhere to residential requirements and shall not exceed 25 feet in height. The proximity to a single-family residential use makes the use of a traditional bar tavern inappropriate for the subject location. Therefore, the indoor commercial entertainment special use for the subject property is exclusively limited to private events which are attended by invitation only, with invitations made to specific individuals or groups, and a no event will the special use be open to the general public.
All right, does the commission have any questions of staff? Yes.
Was noise ordinances considered in this at all?
We do have a noise ordinance. Ours is actually pretty detailed. The decibel level is based on the octave level because different octaves have different points of annoyance, for lack of a better term. So, and the police department does have a decibel reader in case there is a noise complaint.
Can you give an example of, for everyday common parlance, what would be an acceptable level of noise? A lot of times we compare it to the hum of an air conditioner or something like at the property line.
So if the octave band is 0 to 75, then in commercial districts, it cannot exceed 73 decibel levels, and that is about an air conditioner running outside, louder than a refrigerator, but closer to like an air conditioner unit.
Say that again?
It's a lot of people like to use refrigerators. 73 decibel levels is louder than a refrigerator. It's more in line with like an air conditioner unit. So it's not any louder than your typical neighborhood ambient noise levels.
What type of fence are you gonna put around it?
The applicant is proposing a privacy fence, which will help shield the headlights and noise and any kind of garbage that could be in there. And they are permitted to put up a fence. That's just a regular zoning thing. They can put up a fence. Since this is a special use, we are taking the ability to make sure the fence along Pearl Street, though, is more appropriate than a standard fence that they're allowed to have. So if the curb cuts are fenced, you know, the in and outs are fenced off, instead of having it a solid fence, more like those metal swing bars that you see, that way when you're driving down, it doesn't look like this big walled off venue. It gives it a little bit more open on the front. And it also, when cars are coming and going, if they don't have that solid fence gate that's sitting there, it makes for a better line of sight.
Thank you.
Does the planning department have or zoning department have the ability to review the proposed barrier or fencing as far as style?
Not unless you condition it to a specific style. Like I said, the zoning code already permits fencing, so that's not one of the exceptions they're asking for in the special use. It's already permitted. We are restricting the gate style to the barrier, but if you want to restrict the overall fence style, you can. But it would need to be, maybe not.
This is not a planned unit development, so that would be difficult to do. If it's allowed under the base code, it'd be hard to make it more restrictive in that sense than the base code. Because you're not conditioning the use, conditioning almost like a bulk requirement at that point.
I guess my question is, or where I'm going with it is, they could have the option of putting a cyclone fence, which doesn't really provides a barrier, but not necessarily blocking light or anything from cars. Or they could put up a wood fence, a solid wood fence, or they could use natural barriers.
I'd take it back. If you were trying to limit, I was thinking height and things like that. If you're talking about an opaque fence versus something else along those lines, certainly you could do that.
Due to the existing parking lot, doing like a row of pine trees, very difficult because of the existing parking lot. On their site plan, it says privacy fence, and condition number 2 is substantial compliance with the site plan. So that requires them to do a privacy fence then, not a cyclone fence. So that could be wood, that could be PVC, but not like a wrought iron or chain link.
What's the occupancy for the building?
I have been trying to get that, and I know the applicant's been trying to get that. It ultimately will be decided based on the layout. The more half walls you put in, the more tables you have out, all those are factors of the occupancy. For instance, this room has an occupancy level of 75, 77, 70 something. I can't read the number on the wall. And the DMV is almost 3 times as large, but then you have to take out the bar area and the restrooms and all that stuff, and the more obstructions you have, the lower your occupancy. So this is almost a completely wide open room. If you intend to have tables and chairs set up, that impacts it. So the fire department was not able to give a level until they see the final layout of how it's going to be set up inside.
Follow up, the parking lot, how many spaces?
There's about 40, 45 spaces. In talking now, currently, and talking with the applicant, he does plan on re-blacktopping the parking lot and restriping it, because right now, when you pull in, there's angle striping going in both directions. There's not really a clear, in and out. So we were going to sit down and work on an overall new restriping that could either gain a couple spaces, or they may end up losing a couple spaces in that, but it would have better vehicle circulation.
And currently, I can't remember, on-street parking is allowed in front of the building?
There is nothing in the city municipal code that prevents the use of on-street parking. So just like if a neighbor has a friend over and they park on the street, you can park on the street unless there's no parking signs put up there. Typically, a business should have all their parking on site, except for, fluke incidences. When it's an existing building and an existing parking lot, that does at times make it more difficult, but they should be able to maintain them all on site. That is the goal.
So if residents were concerned about on-street parking from an event, there's no recourse unless the city decides to put in no parking zone in front of the building.
If they're illegally, like double parked in front of hydrants, blocking driveways, stuff like that, then you can obviously call the police department, because that is illegal parking. But as far as just using the street, yeah, unless the city does permit parking only, or no parking zone, similar to over, like I live by the high school, so the street over from me, it's permit parking only. So to make sure the students don't park there unless that was done.
Okay. Any further questions? All right, does the applicant or any interested parties have questions of the staff?
So why don't you come on up, and this microphone's always on, so it might be easier for you to use. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Can you please state your name?
Oh, sorry. I'm Cord Sellers.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
Oh, yes, I do.
He has some questions of staff.
I'm sorry.
I actually just coming up here now. I don't have any questions at this time, but I just figured I'll be here for when the questions start.
All right. Okay, does anyone have any questions of staff right now? Okay, hearing none. Does the applicant have any testimony they would like to share?
Sure.
All right, now can you please state your name?
Cord Sellers?
Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do.
All right, you may proceed.
I'm actually excited to see everybody here. It's kind of my idea. Ryan Crombie and JBLH are the building owner, and I'll be operating the business within it if it does get approved. I guess my main statement is I'm more than willing to hear you guys' questions. That's why we're here. The community will make or break this business, so the neighbors are who we care about right now. I'm just kind of excited to see what everybody has to say.
All right, thank you. Does the commission have any questions for the applicant?
What exactly are you thinking in terms of, like, how many people would be coming and where they would be parking, how that would all work?
As far as to kind of touch base on the occupancy and the parking, we will follow fire code. I am a former firefighter in Wisconsin. It is important to me. I've been trained on panic hardware, and then as far as the parking, your guys' laws might not state that nobody can park on the street, but our rental agreement can. It's hard to prove whether or not they're there for an event, but if we see that, we will ask them to move their cars. We do not want people parking in the street to come to the event center. That was in our plans for our rental agreement. The agreement itself is still in the works, but we will have each occupant will sign something that says they will be out by 11. Each occupant will sign something that says they're not going to make too much noise or create too much trouble, and if they do, their security deposit that will be held will be cashed in, so there's a financial benefit for them to go ahead and follow those rules that they agreed to. As far as the number of people, we hope smaller venue, 100 maybe. It's what the fire department says. We don't know. And if we're occupied 50% of the time, we're very successful. We don't anticipate that. But it's kind of to see if we have a need here and if people want to use it during the week or just the weekends, things like that.
So can you talk about the kinds of events that you anticipate hosting?
Yeah.
And kind of what the business plan is?
I was in the event rental business with tents, tables, chairs for about 7 years. I'd say about 80% of the money in event rentals is graduations and weddings, and 80% of the business is everything else, the little stuff. We expect to be open for children's birthday parties where you don't want to have 20 kids at your house. We want to cater to weddings, but obviously not large ones. Private events, something like an adult prom, something kind of low key, or even my mom's really big into quilting. She wants to host a quilt show there. It's open. It's just it's an empty room that people can use.
I just want to add something. There will be no kitchen here. Everything will be catered in, and the event center will be providing if there is use of a bar, the event center is providing bar staff. People cannot bring in their friends to play bartender. Correct. So all food and liquor will be controlled by the property owner.
And to kind of go a little bit further on that, that's why we did want the liquor license there. When there is no liquor license, in my past experience, people could bring in their own alcohol. And just as a wedding DJ, I saw more underage drinking at weddings than I did in high school. We don't want that to happen. The insurance, it's not worth it. And we want a licensed bartender there with the proper insurance on site. Otherwise, there's no alcohol in the building.
So then you're required to have a liquor license, is that what you're saying? Or you are choosing to have a liquor license?
We are choosing to have a liquor license.
Is it a catering liquor license or the permanent established, or is that still being decided?
We hope to have an established one. The main reason for that is a logistics and finance reason. Moving liquor gets complicated. I'm not exactly sure the laws here, but where I grew up in Iowa, an open bottle could not be transported. So at the end of the night, there was a dumpster full of liquor bottles that college kids like to visit, to look for what was left of the wedding. Once again, creating more problems than it's worth. That we would like it on site. Just, it's a lot easier to hire a bartender to show up, unlock it, and serve than it is to hire somebody with the proper license, insurance, vehicle insurance to haul everything over, get it all back at the end of the night. It's a quicker shutdown too.
And do you have a vision for the whole fencing?
It's gonna, after the parking lot's finished, it's gonna take some, our main goal is that there's no headlights shining at houses. That's our main goal. Also, the front will be more open to not block sight lines, but really what we care about is headlights shining on houses, and that's what we want to stop. And also, even a wedding or a kid's party, sometimes there'll be people outside. Usually it's not much more than a typical barbecue. But if we could block the vision of that from the street or block kids from running into the street, we would like to do that up front as well. It's kind of why we want the full, all the way around as best as we can. There is design that has to go into it, and we have an architect working on it to help us out.
And then your signage, do you have a vision for that?
There'll be no bar signs, there'll be no neon signs. There might be a sign on the building with the building name, but I don't want that. Ryan does because he owns the building. I don't need it. As long as people know the phone number, they can find the building. So.
Thanks.
Yep.
Just to piggyback on the signage, so the commission members understand, signage allowed in the neighborhood office district is you get a half a square foot per street frontage, maximum sign size is 60 square feet, maximum height is 15 feet, and you only get one, so, which is very restrictive compared to like North State Street with the giant McDonald's and tall. And then for building signs, it is you get 2 square feet of linear wall, max out 200. So the building sign can be larger than the freestanding. However, the building is only 80 feet, and then with the windows, like, you're not going to be able to fit that big of a sign on that building because of the door openings and the window openings. And the big thing that I think the residents would like to know about is animated signage is only permitted by special use. So if they would do like an animated sign with the blinky lights and stuff, we would be right back here to discuss that.
And that's not in the plans at all. So.
Gotcha. But you have the capability of doing it. So, even though it may not be your intent. So my question to staff would be, so you're saying that conceivably they could put a 15-foot sign?
Any office can. If the doctor's office moves in there tomorrow, they could do that. Or if the DMV comes back, they can do that. That's just the signage that's allowed in that district.
And what authority does the commission have to place any restriction on that?
You don't at this point. That would require a text amendment to your base code.
Just thinking that to keep it in keeping with the neighborhood feel, that it would be nice to limit the signage to, say, the building, a placard on the building or something that is of size.
And it may sound like a lot to you, and I am not. Ask anyone. I'm not a fan of signage to begin with, so trust me. I know where you're coming from. For instance, though, in all other zoning districts, sorry, my page is sticking, you can have, so instead of the 60 square foot maximum, you can have 150 square foot maximum sign. Instead of 15 foot tall, you can have 40 foot tall in the majority of the commercial districts. So this is greatly reduced. In the commercial districts, animated signage is just outright permitted, and this is a special use. So there's already pretty big restrictions placed on the signage to begin with compared to other commercial and office districts.
All right, does the commission have any more questions for the applicant? All right, all right, does any interested parties have any questions for the applicant? Any interested parties have a statement they would like to say?
I have questions.
Oh, you have would you like to come up?
Sure.
I'm gonna have you state your name and then swear in as well. Okay, just so you know, you have to hold down that button for the mic to work.
And who are you asking questions of, ma'am?
My name is Kathy Sell. I live across the street from the business.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do. So with weddings and birthday parties and graduations, so will there be DJs or live bands?
We plan to leave it to the person, renting the space as far as DJs, but the city noise ordinances will be in place and will be a part of the rental agreement. I know we will have cameras on the outside with microphones, so even if you guys aren't home, I can pull it up on my phone and listen. If I can hear it, I can call that person in the space, or I can be there in the space and tell them it's time to turn down. I, in the past, have DJ'd at a lot of hotels, and once the rules are stated clearly, people won't violate them because they don't want their wedding shut down. That's just my personal experience. But.
I see. I'm not crazy about it being open till 11 o'clock at night. That's pretty late for a residential neighborhood, I feel.
I agree. The agreement will be that they have to be out by 11. I know it's cutting hairs, but that might shave 30 minutes, 45 minutes off. You can't keep the party going till 11. Everyone has to be out of the parking lot by 11.
It's still pretty late for a residential neighborhood.
I agree.
And I mean, you could have an event on a Sunday night. Do you rent it? Would you be renting it on a Sunday night?
If someone wanted it on a Sunday night, then yes. I don't know the market yet. I don't know how often people will rent during the week. I do anticipate that Friday, Saturday, Sunday are the most common days. I know that's when most people get married. So, but yeah, we will be available to be rented unless there's other constraints put on us by the city as far as the operation hours.
Well, it would be rather tough on the neighborhood if you had to be to work at 6.
I agree, and we do want to, we want to keep the neighbors happy. We hope that you guys come and rent the place. I have neighbors in my own house that I don't want to make my neighbor mad, whether it's because of legalities or not. I just don't want an angry neighbor living next to my house. Happy neighbors are better neighbors. You guys can call us if someone's breaking into the property, if someone's trying to vandalize it. We want a good relationship going forward, and I know it'll be a learning curve. We don't want noise late. I will put my cell phone number. You guys can call me anytime if you guys are having a problem on a weeknight. We have the final say about who gets the place. If it is a Tuesday night and somebody wants to have a wedding with a live DJ, we're going to do our best to keep you guys happy just as a business.
Well, I'm not crazy about it going in. I'm really not. Would you want it next to your house?
I actually grew up in a small town where we had a community building very similar to this. It was attached to a bank, and I lived a block away. Very, very similar structure, a wide open space that you could rent until 11 with a deposit. And I mean, I know me growing up, every kid's birthday party I went to was there. Every baby shower I went to was there. I opened my wedding gifts there. For me, it was nice having that. We didn't have noise issues. It's hard to say. I don't want it to be noisy.
I do have one question. If we grant the liquor license to these guys, and let's say the business fails, who can go in there after this? Can a bar open up in there after this?
No. And this is actually a legal question, and I was not giving testimony. Two things. One, liquor licenses in the city of Belvidere are non-transferable. They're unique only to the original applicant. So if he were to leave and a liquor license was issued to his name or his corporate name, that liquor license goes away. A new entity would have to apply for one. If you look on the screen, if you look on the screen, one of the things that the planning department was working with the applicant was today was how do we ensure that does not become a bar. And if you look at the 7th condition, it specifically states they cannot have a bar or tavern. It's limited to events by invitation only, specific to individuals or groups, and it cannot be open to the general public. And the purpose for that was because bars are included in the special use of indoor commercial entertainment to specifically exclude them from this grant of a special use. So under this ordinance, a bar and tavern is not allowed to open in that location at this time. They'd have to come back and get a different special use.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions for the applicant? Oh, please come up. All right, just so you know, you're going to have to hold down the button for the mic to work.
Okay.
Can you please state your name?
My name's Amber.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do.
All right, you may proceed.
Okay. This is a weird question. Is it like video gaming or is it like slots?
For the event center?
Yeah.
None. It's just, there'll be a bar on, inside the event center we're actually going to have rolling garage doors that lock so no one can access it when no one's using it. And even the floor plan divides out the bar from the rest of the event center, but there won't be slots.
Okay. That's what I was afraid. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, because I heard video game and I was like, I could go.
That's most of their other business ventures.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks. I was just wondering.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, please come up.
Corey Thornton, I swear to tell the truth. For the neighbors also, I've been in here, if my count's right, 7 times talking to Attorney Jolla and Gina over doing this. A lot of the recommendations for the conditions are from conversations that we've had. Number 7, I like a lot. Thank you, Attorney Jolla. I run events for a living, actually. Most of them don't cause any problems. A few of them get a little loud outside and whatnot. I know from history, all you gotta do is walk outside, talk to people that are getting loud, and they quiet right down. The building's gonna be used for something sooner or later, to be honest with you. I don't have an issue with this. I talked to a handful of neighbors before I came tonight. The biggest concern that we have is it turning into a bar into the future. We've been here before. Some of you remember, some of you are new. We were here a year ago fighting against the bar. If you remember, there was a lot more of us then than there are now. At the time, the planning staff recommended denying it. It was, if I remember right, a unanimous vote from all of you denying it. City council denied it. Nobody wants this turning into a bar. They're not proposing a bar, but I want to make sure that the language is correct, that this can never turn into a bar in the future. Because, I mean, if you know the site, which I'm sure you all do, it's surrounded 100% by houses all the way around it. So I personally don't see much of an issue. Yes, they're going to park on the street. You're not going to be able to stop them no matter what you do. Some of the residents ain't going to like that. I understand that. I'm not going to like that. You're going to have a little bit of noise. You're going to have a little bit of light conditions. My recommendation is put the cops on speed dial. Call them every time. I know from the city council that one of the first questions they ask when there's a problem, how many phone calls have the cops had? If everything you say goes as planned, which I hope it will, city council is, going to hear that they had 0 phone calls from the cops. As long as it doesn't turn into a bar, honestly, as a neighbor, I'm okay with what they're planning, as long as the language is right to stop it from becoming a bar.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Or statements?
Can I just do one more thing?
Yes,
Just
of
for the
course.
residents, the building owner, and I don't know if we'll hit that whole budget, but he has earmarked $100,000 for improvements to the exterior and interior of the building. We do want to make this look nice again for your guys' neighborhood. And that is going to be our goal. So just kind of wanted to touch on that too. It took a lot of convincing to get him to okay that much.
I was glad to see that scary ramp be removed. That was an accident waiting to happen.
He's actually planning on, I think, adding entrances and removing entrances to make it ADA compliant. It's a big push for his. Like I said, we do have an architect that we work with that is looking at all the plans to make sure that we do everything right, just as far as ADA. As of right now, the basement's not planned to be used at all. We don't put more money in than we can get back out, but if it goes successful, then that basement, you know, you'll probably see some building permits to kind of finish that out and make it another rental place. Not another liquor license, just another spot for people to have activities.
All right. Any further questions or statements? All right, hearing none, we're gonna close case 2019-02 at 7:11. All right, can I get a movement to approve the findings of facts?
So moved.
Second.
Bob Cantrell,
Yes.
Daniel Revelo,
Yes.
Andy Race,
Yes.
Art Highland,
Yes.
Paul Engelmann,
Aye.
Carl Ganevu.
Aye.
Findings of fact are, as presented by staff, are approved.
Okay, can I have a movement to approve case 2019-02 with these 7 conditions?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, was there a question?
Motion to amend.
All right.
I want to amend the first recommendation. Hours of operation shall be limited to 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. And my thought are that 11 o'clock, yeah, that's probably going to happen, but, you know, human nature being what it is, it'll go beyond. If we limit it to 10, maybe everybody will be out by 11. I don't know. But I think 11 o'clock in a residential neighborhood is a little bit much, okay, with the traffic moving in and out. It's just one individual's thought, okay?
I do just want to clarify.
Second, yeah.
Is there a second on that amendment?
There was no second.
So it feels like a second.
Okay, I'm sorry, that fails for lack of a second. All right, any other questions or statements about the conditions?
There's also a motion, I mean, there's already a motion
To approve.
to approve with conditions and a second.
Oh, okay.
So if there's any further discussion then?
Hmm?
Is there any further discussion on the motion? Is there
Any further discussion on the motion as presented? Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll do the vote. Paul Engelmann,
Aye.
Bob Cantrell,
Yes.
Andy Race,
Yes?
Art Highland,
Yes.
Daniel Revelo,
Aye.
Carl Ganevu.
Aye.
The case is approved, subject to the 7 conditions as presented in the staff report.
So this will go to City Council for first reading next Monday, and then it will go to City Council for final reading on April 1st.
All right, opening case number 2019-03. Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do. Gina Delrose, Community Development Planner. The applicant, Ryan Crombie, at 201 South 8th Street in South Beloit, on behalf of the property owner, LHC Properties at the same address, is requesting a special use to permit outdoor commercial entertainment, specifically a beer garden at 622 South State Street in Belvidere in the Central Business District. The property is approximately a half an acre and developed with a parking lot. Certified mailings were sent out on February 20th, and it was published in the Journal on February 22nd. To the property to the north is Coach's Corner. To the south and east is residential, and to the west is the municipal parking lot. To the northwest and east is central business, and to the south and some additional east is single-family residential. The comprehensive plan shows the entire area being central business in the future. The property owner purchased the former Busch Gardens in 2018 and renovated the building prior to reopening the restaurant and bar as Coach's Corner. In 2019, the property owner purchased Municipal Lot 2, which is the subject property, and that contains 50 parking spaces. The parking lot is adjacent to and mainly used by patrons of Coach's Corner and Import Only, which is a car repair business that rents a tenant space from them. The general public will be able to continue to utilize the parking lot during downtown festivals. The property owner purchased the lot with the intent to utilize it for customer parking and events hosted by Coach's Corner, such as pig roast, poker runs, charity events, fundraisers, etc. As building renovations continue, there is the possibility that a portion of the parking lot will be fenced off for a permanent bear garden. A privacy fence will be installed to buffer adjacent residences from the activities. However, the entire property will not be required to have permanent fencing. Although other beer gardens in Belvidere were required to have perimeter fencings installed, due to the dual use of the property as customer parking and special events, only temporary fencing will be required along South State Street. A variance to reduce the required setback from residentially zoned properties from 300 feet to 0 feet is also being requested. That is the next case on the agenda. The property is currently used for customer parking. When the parking lot will be used for events, customers will be able to utilize Municipal Lot 11, the former Manley site. On-site parking is not required for properties zoned at central business because the proximity to municipal parking and availability of street parking. The comprehensive plan designates the subject property as central business. The current zoning is central business along with several adjacent properties. The entire downtown plus all the adjacent properties are designated as central business. The downtown area should be a mix of retail and services, residential, recreation, and entertainment that operate during the day and night and are compatible land uses. Outdoor commercial entertainment is an encouraged land use in the downtown area. There is a large beer garden nearby on Buchanan Street. Festivals are held downtown, and nearby community building complex of Boone County hosts large events. Even though the majority of those events are held indoors, they do generate traffic in the neighborhood. Although there is residential nearby, the neighborhood is still part of the commercial downtown area. The special use will provide another venue for residents and organizations to enjoy. Conditions of approval, such as fencing and lighting, will lessen the potential negative impacts to the adjacent properties. Any music will need to adhere to the city's noise standards found within the Belvidere zoning ordinance. Staff recommends approval of case 2019-03 for special use for outdoor commercial entertainment at 622 South State Street, subject to the following conditions. A privacy fence shall be installed along property lines abutting residences, but shall not inhibit safe site distance for motorists entering and leaving the property. If additional lighting is utilized, it shall not exceed 0.5-foot candles at the property line and shall not exceed 25 feet in height. Temporary fencing, such as snow fencing or chain link, a minimum of 4 feet in height, shall be set up along the entire South State Street frontage during events. Staff shall be present outside during events. If a smaller permanent beer garden is utilized, then that shall require permanent fencing to separate it from the parking lot. Such fencing shall be approved by planning staff.
All right, does the commission have any questions of staff? All right, hearing none. Oh.
will there be alcohol served outside, or will it be purchased inside and then taken out into the garden?
That might be a better question for the applicant when it gets to that.
Yeah, but there will be alcohol regardless consumed outside, which is why even if it's temporary, they will have to install fencing every time there's an event.
Any further questions for staff? Okay, hearing none, I'm gonna move on. Does the applicant have any questions for staff?
No.
All right, does any interested parties have any questions for staff? Oh, okay, well, please come up. Please hold down the button while you speak.
Yep.
You're asking questions.
You're asking questions, we don't need to swear you in.
Okay. Two of the reasons I'm here is, the first one is about the outdoor beer garden and the eating area. But the main reason that I'm here is on the paperwork here that Mr. Crombie says that doesn't see it being detrimental to the downtown area and the houses, and that late hours are part of downtown living. Well, I've been on that block for 43 years of my life.
Jesse, I'm not trying to cut you off, but you'll have a chance later to actually provide testimony like this. There's a chance you have any questions for Gina based upon what she said.
What's going to be the well, we already know the decibel limit, but how long is that going to last? Till midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning?
There are no hours of operation in the central business district. Obviously, the liquor sales go on till 2 a.m., but there's nothing in the code that restricts the hours.
So the sound level, being that I'm across the street from a vacant lot now, that Manly's is gone, I can hear people talking when they're smoking at Coach's Corner with my front door open and my windows open in the fall. There is no limit on that?
Yes, there
Right.
is. It's not the limit you're going to like. And it's not in the zoning code, which is why you didn't
Yeah,
notice
that's
it.
why I'm trying to think of what the muni code says.
Because it is operating under a liquor license, our liquor code shuts down, actually, we just amended this thing, 2 a.m. Monday through, 7 days a week now. We extended that. I'm sorry, no, it's 2 a.m. It was always 2 a.m. It can start at 6 a.m., 7 days a week. And it does provide, however, that nobody can be in the licensed premises at all during the hours they're supposed to be closed, with the exception of cleaning crews. And while they're there, they're not allowed to drink at all. So, yeah, I know. If you own the bar and you clean up, you can't have a beer. But so, yes, it's not 24/7. They are required to close, but I'm assuming that wouldn't make you real happy at 2 a.m.
Oh, no, I can hear people currently, when it's supposed to start to open up, at nighttime in the fall, when the weather's great, I have my front door open, and I can hear them outside smoking and talking on a regular basis. So you have an event outside, and then they park across the street where Manly's used to be. And when Manly's was there, they were Monday through Friday, 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. They were there Saturday, 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock, closed on Sundays. So the whole idea about the late night living downtown is another story, but it was always a quiet neighborhood.
Again, Jesse, if you have questions at this point, you can make that point in about 5 minutes.
I think the question he was getting at was the decibel level. We talked about the decibel level with the other property being like the hum of an air conditioner. Is there a specific decibel level for businesses downtown?
Yes, so it's I want to quote it right, hold on.
They do have it. Coach's Corner has a big fan going
the way the code is it breaks up decibel levels based on the octaves, because different octaves hit those ranges. And then it's decibel levels for agricultural, office, commercial, and industrial districts are one number, and decibel levels in residential districts are another. So that is, they will have to adhere to the same decibel levels as the DMV building has to adhere to. It's not able to be louder because it's downtown.
So if we go outside and we hold a decibel meter, what can it say before we can call and complain?
The most common octave, which is at 0 to 75, is 73 decibels, and then octaves of 76 to 150 is 69. So 151 to 300 is 65. So nothing can be over 73. So if anything's over 73, you can call the police. If it's, say it's 68 and it's really bothering you, because it could be at that other octave level, call the police and have them verify it.
Yeah, because you get a different base level when you go with a base.
Ma'am, if you're going to be asking questions, could you come up and use the microphone? We do record this and it's played back on channel 20, so if you're back there, nobody can hear you.
I'm pretty loud.
Mics aren't that good, though.
I guess what I'm saying is I know that levels are different because when you have somebody that has a bass and they have that bass turned up, it's really loud, it'll rattle windows. And if you've got that bass turned down and you just have volume, sometimes it's not as disruptive. So I guess that's what I'm looking at.
The octave level worse. So that way, certain octave levels are allowed to be a little bit higher decibel because it's not as disruptive, because it's on a different frequency.
Okay, so we're, 12 o'clock at night, we're not going to have an issue with really loud music keeping everybody up in the neighborhood, dogs barking,
no,
kids crying.
Not if they're adhering to the sound ordinance. So if you are being bothered, call the police so that it can be documented, and then they will get a violation.
Gina, Coach's Corner does have a huge exhaust fan blowing right out into the parking lot that makes quite a lot of noise. And I understand the smoking thing, because I've been there several times and people come outside to smoke. Of course, I've been there in the winter time, so they don't stay out there very long. But the fan makes more noise than anything else, the exhaust fan.
I guess I've never paid attention to the exhaust fan when I go in there. It's been cold, I'm usually going quickly in and out.
Hey, ma'am, if you could provide your name for the record, please.
Sheila Gonzalez.
All right, are there any further questions?
Of staff.
Of staff, sorry, questions of staff.
Well, I don't know about questions, it's issues.
Okay, we'll get to testimonies later. All right, thank you though. All right, can we get a testimony from, or do you have a testimony you would like to present from the applicant?
No. I know that Ryan doesn't want it.
Oh, I'm sorry, can you say your name, please?
Oh, Amber Reed.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I know that Ryan doesn't want it to be like a big party out in the parking lot. I know he just wants it to be a place where we can have outdoor eating and people can have drinks. And I know that he'd like to hold like cornhole tournaments in the parking lot. So from what I know, it's not meant to be an all-night party to keep anybody awake.
Has he discussed a potential closing time for the outdoor venue?
So I had originally thought that he had said like 11 p.m. for outside stuff, but he's not here and I can't double check that.
What time? Coach's Corner does not stay open until 2 a.m.
No, they do not. We stay open till 1 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, and we close at 12 on the weekdays and Sundays.
And a big part of that is the community. He has no business after 11, so he can't do anything to change that. There's just no business after 11.
All right, does the commission have any questions of the applicant? Do any interested parties have any questions of the applicant at this point? Oh, I'm sorry, what? Okay, can we please hear your question?
Okay, you said that you wanted to have some outdoor seating for food and things like that. Now, is that gonna be an everyday thing, or like you said, cornhole tournaments, that might be once a month or whatever? But are you looking at having like live bands out there that are gonna be going till maybe 11 or 12 or 1 o'clock at night? You know, you said you can be open till 1, you know, everybody's slow, the business, you know, you said 11 o'clock. But is that something that you're looking at? You know, I understand, you know, you get people outside eating and drinking,
Right, yeah.
you get normal talking, we can hear the talking when people are out smoking. But I think one of the big concerns is this noise gonna go later than, you know, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning? You know, you have people that work, kids that need to sleep, dogs that will bark at everything. So, you know, then we don't want to get in trouble for dogs barking, but that's where, you know, you guys answering these questions come in. Are you going to have that? Is it going to be something that's every weekend, do you have any idea?
As far as like eating out there and like having a beverage at your table while you're eating, hopefully during the warm months, yes, we plan on people enjoying the outside area.
Daily?
Yeah, like when the restaurant's open, to sit out there and eat, yes. And have I mean, we're not gonna say you can't have your drink when you're out there, so, I got sidetracked. As far as, the loud music and bands, I feel like, Gina, correct me if I'm wrong, would that be like something else you'd have to apply for if we did wanna do something like that because of the noise level?
So to touch base on a comment you made, what is currently permitted is something called, I want to make sure I use the right terminology, so hold on. Outdoor seating and services, which is outright permitted. And that means on their own property, they can have food and alcohol served, just kind of like Short Line Sushi on Buchanan Street. They have that little patio section. That's outright permitted. What the special use allows, and that's only permitted till 10 o'clock. Special use allows for activities outside of 10 o'clock and for activities other than just eating and drinking, which would be your cornhole tournaments, maybe a poker run, a pig roast, stuff like that. That's what the special use is actually for, is for those after 10 o'clock, non-eating, you know, typical eating and drinking scenario. That's what this is for.
Okay, so when it goes to that, the after 10 o'clock thing, I would, in the warmer months, maybe we'd have once a month event, a pig roast, in that case, a live band. But I don't foresee there being something going on every weekend in that parking lot past 10 p.m.
Okay, so Gina, you're saying that their food they can have until 10, correct?
Correct.
Outside.
Yes, you can have seating and services, so food and
Okay.
drinks outside till 10 o'clock.
Okay, so that's understandable, but
Only through, I think it's like May to it's temporary, so it's not year round. It's like May to November, because like, let's face it, no one's going to eat outside in December in northern Illinois. But yeah.
so then you're saying maybe once a month you might have something that would go a little bit later outside?
Yes.
Would you be giving like flyers out if you guys do that?
Absolutely.
Allowing the neighborhood to
Well,
know?
we definitely make it public, either via social media or, I don't know, in the shopper. You guys have, I know we do a lot in the shopper, so we could post it in there when we had events that would be coming up outside that would be going past 10 o'clock.
What about the yard?
Oh, if you would like to ask questions, please come up.
Just say my name.
Yes, for the record, please.
Amber, what about the yards around there? There's a house right in front of the bar like in the back, and that's our house, and there's another house. Or is like all the trash and things like that? Is there gonna be fencing? Is there gonna be something?
Fencing put up when there's events going on in the parking lot.
Oh, so you just like put up like that orange fence, basically?
I'm not sure what the fence would be.
Condition 1 is a privacy fence shall be installed along property lines abutting residences, but shall not inhibit safe site distance. So for the two sides, because obviously the north side, it's a building. You can't block much more than a building. So then on the east and south sides, which are against the houses, that needs to be a privacy fence. So you're looking at wood, PVC, something solid. And then when they do events, they'll have to put up temporary fencing all along State Street. So, but you will have a privacy fence along the residences to help with the headlights, possible garbage noise, stuff like that.
So the kids can go outside and play, you know. I think, so what, I'm just curious, what's a decibel?
What's a decimal level, like, because when people are talking in this tone at that bar, I hear them. So if there's music and things like that going till 12 o'clock at night on, what, daily?
No. Especially, so it'll be after 10 p.m., like
11, sorry.
maybe once a month, and that's me being super generous. I feel that more of it would be like the cornhole tournaments during the day that could possibly run till right around 10, but I feel like they're pretty much over, not much far after dark. No, we close at 12 and then 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. But as far as the loud music, and when I say once a month, I think that's even being generous. Because, I mean, it costs a lot of money to even put on something like that, so it's not something that's going to be happening all the time.
Well, and the restaurant will still be bound by the, the code. They can't violate the noise ordinance. Obviously, we encourage you to call if you think that it is. But I know it's kind of hard to say how often it'll be used because it's a blanket approval. But in my conversation with Ryan as well, using that parking lot a lot hurts his business because I don't know if you've tried to eat there. Sometimes it's impossible to park. So yeah, he just wants to open it up, like she said, for pork rims, bags tournaments, and he's gonna still have to abide by those decibel rules. So if he can figure out how to get a band out there underneath that level, that's on him. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
It's gonna be, yeah.
Just maybe it'll help clarify, because, throwing out decibel levels, hard to visualize.
Yes.
So according to Purdue, because without having time to really search all night, I'm going to trust Purdue, being a college, would have a legitimate listing. A passenger car at 65 miles per hour at 25 feet is 77 decibels. Keep in mind the highest decibel allowed here is 73. A garbage disposal, dishwasher, average factory, freight train, car wash at 20 feet, a plane at 1,000 feet, stuff like that, that's at 80, so, which is above what's permitted. So nothing should sound louder than a garbage disposal, dishwasher, plane at 1,000 feet. You're looking more in the passenger car, a conversation in restaurant, office, background music, air conditioner unit at 100 feet is 60 decibels. Quiet suburb conversation at home, large electrical transformer at 100 feet is 50. Library, bird calls, I'm just reading what it says, 40 feet. Whisper of rustling leaves, 20 decibels. So, I mean, the 73's in that passenger car driving by kind of range, if that helps make it a little bit more tangible.
And then I have another question. So when you are using this parking lot and all these people have nowhere to park anymore, will they be parking on the streets? Will they be parking where else are they?
Parking lot across the street.
Across the street?
This parking lot and that parking lot get very, very full. So where else are all these cars gonna go when they don't have any room in that parking lot?
There's a whole block over there except for 2 houses.
Is there? Okay. I was just wondering if
Yeah.
we're gonna start blocking off. the street.
Yeah.
Just, that's what I was asking.
Well, and I think why she asked that is because we live right across from that parking lot, and it does tend to get full when there's events going on.
Oh, I'm sure it
So
does.
if they're blocking off their parking lot for some type of event, and then people are going to that parking lot, you know, then they're gonna end up parking on the street, and I think that's where she's going with that question, is because it does fill up very quickly if other parking is blocked off.
Even when I go to events at the community building, that parking lot fills up quick, and then they park across the street, and then they park on the street. So, once in a while, I would think you were gonna have that problem.
In the central business district, which is what this is zoned, parking is not required. So any business that opens up in central business, we cannot require them to have a parking lot. Most businesses don't have parking lots because of the on-street parking and municipal parking. That's what's permitted downtown, unfortunately.
I just see a lot of cars being left there from driving people, and then wanting to drive their cars home. That's what I see. So, I'm just wondering.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions?
So let's circle back to what we're actually doing. So by approving this, we're allowing the applicant to hold events in their parking lot and have outdoor eating. Well, they're already allowed to have outdoor eating, right?
Correct.
Till 10 o'clock.
Correct.
So the privilege or the right we're giving them is what?
What the special use grants is the ability to do activities such as the cornhole tournaments. If they do a poker run, say they invite the high school kids to use their parking lot for a car wash fundraiser or something like that, just activities. And then to be able to eat and drink past 10 o'clock if they so choose to utilize that.
So my question.
But however, if there is drinking going on, like I said, that temporary fencing needs to be up, the staff needs to be stationed outside. It's not just a free-for-all in the parking lot.
So my question to the applicant is, how married to the idea of operating past 10 outdoors are you for the activities that you intend to have there? Because it would seem that cornhole tournament or big roast or a fun run or whatever you're doing
Is more
generally going to be
yeah.
done by 10 o'clock.
So let's see, June, July, August, September. So let's say we had 4 warm months and we did a band one Saturday a month in the parking lot past 10 till 12. So for a year.
But a band would generally violate the sound law or sound ordinance.
Yeah, like I said, it would be more like an acoustic level band. You're not going to have
Right.
amps out there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I guess it seems to me that generally your business is going to be, if what I'm hearing is right, is that you're going to be trying to do events to promote activity in the downtown district and bring more business to your establishment, and that, I like eating outdoors as much as anybody, and I'm generally done eating by 10 o'clock.
Right.
So it seemed to me that a good compromise would be to have those activities be completed by 10 o'clock at night.
Again, the location, you're in a residential area. There's never, ever been an open-air bar in close proximity to a residential area. If if I lived in Jesse's house, I would be here too, to tell people about the noise that you already hear. And I'm sure that carries over to Pearl Street as well. So I think, you know, I'd make a motion that we restrict the hours to 10 o'clock, you know, no later than 10. And you're still going to have a certain amount of noise that is going to carry over into your residential neighborhood. But hopefully, by limiting it to 10 o'clock, people will be able to accept that. I don't know, but that seems reasonable. So it seems like a compromise. Because if you go beyond that, you're just going to keep people awake.
This would not be the time to make that motion. Do you want to make that motion at the time that you move to approve the case?
We'll approve it, yes.
Could I ask, how would that motion be best phrased?
It'd be included in the conditions.
The condition would just say that the outdoor commercial entertainment activities cannot go past 10 o'clock, but I would say as a courtesy, you may want to also discuss that with the applicant and get their input on that as well.
What's it?
I'm pretty sure we're gonna have events that's gonna coincide, like the parades, Heritage Days. We usually have in the city. I don't know how long that usually goes to. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have more events than just once a month, because we usually have certain events like downtown. You try to have, unless you try to correlate that with what's already happening downtown with a lot of people. It's already rowdy a little bit.
It's not maybe already.
Is that a question?
Amber, do you have a question?
I think I'm just confused on if he's asking me a question.
No, not yet.
Okay.
So applicant, how do you feel about the 10 o'clock be done with outdoor
I
activities?
personally don't see a problem with that. What are you thinking over here?
I know Ryan pretty well, and what you guys have already done for him and his businesses, working with him to come to something that will work is always better than a denial of any sort.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we're kind of here representing him, can't really speak for him, but, you know, same situation where the community makes the business, we want the community to be happy. You know, I know it's what has to be done has to be done. We think we understand that, and I don't think you'll have a problem understanding it either.
I kind of feel like I agree with you. Like a lot of stuff will, you know, cornhole tournaments, poker, or not, pig roast. It's usually done right around 10, you know, before 10 p.m. So I personally don't feel like that would be an issue, the 10 p.m. thing.
And I'd have no problem with changing it either for shorter on weekdays. I know kids, you know, on school nights. I don't think he anticipates.
Although this is summer, I mean, we can't
Well.
do stuff really during school months out there.
They still go to bed at the same time.
Well, I mean, I think it's great that you're investing in the community, that you are promoting activity downtown. We need activity downtown, and however, being a good neighbor is important, and so I think that as a compromise would be a good idea.
We agree.
Is the beer garden open till 2?
We're not open till 2 at all in general.
What they're discussing is limiting all outside activities to 10 p.m. So that'd be all outside.
All right, let's back up for a second, because I've been researching something, Gina. As we've been discussing this, you believe, and I don't know that you're wrong, that the sale of alcohol is a permitted use under the current zoning outside. Is that what you're saying? Because I thought you said that earlier.
Yes. The businesses that have their own properties, so not sidewalks, but their own properties, they're allowed to have sales and services outside, and traditionally that has The most recent one, and to be honest, I believe that's the only one utilizing it right now because most properties do not have a vacant lot next to them that's not used for required parking. Alcohol does go out in that fenced-in area.
So a bar or tavern requires an indoor entertainment special use to have it indoors, but we don't require any special use to have it outdoors?
So here was the thing at City Council. Little history lesson. The code used to require that it ended at 8 p.m., which that is pretty early, especially in the summertime. It's, daylight till like 9:30. So the bars got outdoor commercial entertainment because outdoor commercial entertainment is for land uses later in the night, and the outdoor sales and services, the accessory use was 8. So it didn't work for them because it wasn't open late enough for them. An alderman, Allie, recently proposed and got the amendment changed that outdoor sales is permitted till 10 o'clock because, hey, it's daylight till about then. So that was just recently within the last
And that's why
12 months. So it has changed. It could alter the course of the necessity for outdoor commercial entertainment if you're just looking for food and beer.
And the reason why I was drawing this out of you is in partial response to the commissioner's question, which was limiting everything to 10 o'clock. And no, you can't limit items that are not part of the request for special use. The sale of alcohol and food is not part of this request for outdoor commercial entertainment. This is specifically for the other ancillary uses.
Well, the sale of alcohol outside past 10 o'clock is, and then all the ancillary uses.
Right, but you can't limit it earlier than that. So, and I'm not even sure, I'd have to look at the original text of the sale, because I'm not even sure you can vary that unless you specifically pull it out into special use to allow it later, so I'd have to check that. But the point being is, yes, you could limit it, but if the other ordinance allows it later, unless you get the council to somehow limit that ordinance, they could go later for those sales. The reality is that's right now limited to 10 o'clock, so if you were to set this at 10 o'clock, that would be 10 o'clock, you'd be fine.
All right, any further questions? Oh, that was a discussion at this point. He wants to make a statement, though, correct? Yeah, that's what he said at least earlier. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. Yeah, okay, good, all right. Just making sure I don't overrule him or whatnot. Okay, are there any testimonies that the public would like to make at this point? Yeah, that'd be the gentleman that just left.
Is he here with anybody?
There was another gentleman here that wanted to speak.
All right, can you please state your name?
Valerie.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes. I live at 115.
I'm sorry, can we get your last name as well?
Rill, R-I-L-L. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay. I live at 115 East 2nd Street, which is across from Amber. The fencing, if it's privacy, will keep out people cutting through her yard coming on 2nd Street. I like that because there's the noise, there's the drunks, there's litter, and trash already comes through that area without the fence. What I was wondering too is what Amber said was the overflow if the parking lot across the street and down, that they won't be parking on our street, on 2nd Street. And then when they go to leave, they're drunk and they're noisy and slamming their doors, and with motorcycles and big diesel trucks with their noisy mufflers and these other cars with their noisy vehicles and stuff. But if everything is going to stop at 10 o'clock, hopefully everything will quiet down. When it was Busch Gardens, it was very noisy till 2 o'clock, and that was just a bar without without the beer garden going on and that. So our house was built in 1890. We've been there 30 years. A lot of the property around us is all rental property, so the landlords aren't here because they don't live, and they don't care because they just rent out their property and stuff. So it was just, if the privacy fence is permanent and it'll cut down the traffic on the south side and the east side, that'll help considerably the neighborhood. And if there's an overflow, will they be able to park at the bank? Over in Midland?
That's private property. We cannot speak for Midland.
Okay. That's what we've contended with 30 years being a resident, with few of us are landowners and the rest is all rental properties around us and that. So 10 o'clock sounds very reasonable. If there's anything noisy, bands or whatever, sounds good to me.
Thank you. Is there any other testimonies or statements that you guys would like to present?
Another question. When would this start? When would the beer garden start? When would you guys start doing this?
If approved, when would the plan start?
We don't have a start date. We are pretty much just waiting for approval, and then we would start. We have to build a, yeah, you would build, put all kinds of, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, I was just wondering, I could ask your last name? Oh, Wenzel. How's that spelled? Wenzel. Thank you. All right, that's my question.
Thank you.
Any further testimonies or statements?
I have to say something.
All right, please come up.
What button do I press here?
It says push. I don't know if you see, it's on the bar. You have to hold it. Can you please state your full name?
My name is Lawrence Rill, and I live at 115 East 2nd Street, a stone's throw away from that place.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth?
I swear to tell the truth.
Good, all right, you can proceed.
I'm not in favor of the parking lot having any outside activity except for as a parking lot. I have issues with beer bottles and beer cans and overload of parking along 2nd Street there, and it has been the issue, the noise issue, and there will be that too. 10 o'clock to me is, I mean, if I'm resting back watching TV or something at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night on a hot July night, I don't want to hear all that noise out there, and you do hear the noise out there. So I'm just totally against any outside usage. If the place isn't big enough on the inside, then add on to it and make the parking lot enclosed. That's what I have to say.
All right, well, thank you. All right, any further statements, testimony? All right, hearing none. We'll close case 2019-03 at 8 o'clock. Can I get a motion to approve findings of facts?
So moved.
Second.
Bob Cantrell?
Yes.
Andy Race?
Yes?
Art Highland?
Yes.
Paul Engelman?
Aye.
Daniel Loretto?
Aye.
Carl Geneva?
Aye.
Findings of fact are approved as presented in the staff report.
All right. Are there any other any other questions or concerns about the conditions?
Was there a motion to approve the case yet?
No. Don't wait. Oh, man. All right. A motion to approve case 2019-03.
Motion to approve with amended condition, or?
There needs to be a first and second on the conditions and then a motion to amend. So you just need a first and second right now.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to amend conditions that all outside activities be completed by, or the 10 p.m.
If the movement prefers, how about a new condition number 6? Activities approved by this special use shall cease by 10 o'clock p.m. daily.
Yeah, it's already on there.
Roger that.
Second.
Right, then we would vote. Well, discussion?
Is there any further discussion on that? No? All right. Hearing
You okay with it?
We would vote on the amendment first. Vote on the amendment first, correct? Okay, so Paul Engelmann, this would be for the motion for the amendment.
Aye.
Carl Ganavo?
Aye.
Bob Cantrell?
Aye.
Andy Race?
Aye.
Art Highland?
Aye.
Who did I leave out? And Daniel Rebel.
Aye.
The amendment, the motion to amend passes, and then we go on to the motion to approve
Right.
with, as amended.
If there's any further discussion.
Yeah, is there any?
Is there any further discussion? All right, motion to approve the conditions as amended.
Paul Engelmann?
I thought we voted on that.
No, we didn't.
You vote on the amendment.
We voted to amend. Now we're voting to approve with the amendment.
Come on, Bob, keep it up.
Do we need a motion to approve?
We did that.
You already have the motion.
We had
Oh,
one
okay, my
already.
bad.
Yes, we did.
That was my bad.
You did that first.
You
Then
made
the
both
motion
of them.
amend.
Yes.
Now you're voting on the motion as amended.
You guys are getting confusing.
Paul Engelmann.
Aye.
Carl Ganavo.
Aye.
Bob Cantrell.
What's this for again?
This would be the
The
motion
10
to approve with the conditions amended.
With the 10 o'clock condition.
six
Okay.
added.
I'm holding the button down.
Do you vote?
Yes.
Aye. Andy Race.
Aye.
Art Highland.
Yes.
Daniel Rebelo.
Aye.
The case is approved as amended.
All right. All right, opening case 2019-04 at 8:04.
And wrapping up the Ryan show for tonight is, Jesse, this is related to the special use if you want to stick around for it.
Sure.
Okay,
You don't
same
have
with
to if
you,
you don't want
Shannon.
to.
Just
You're not tired, are you?
Just to give you guys a heads up.
And actually, before you get into the case, Gina, this is the variance, right?
Correct.
To give the commission a heads up, especially for the newest member, virtually everything the commission votes on is actually a recommendation of the city council. It goes to the city council for final decision. The one exception is variances. You are the final determiner of all variances within the city of Belvidere. The variance, however, is dependent upon the special use passing at city council. So what we were going to suggest we do tonight is go through, have the hearing on the variance. We published for today, everybody's here for today. Jesse's here for today. Close the public hearing and then table the matter for a month to see if the special use passes council. So if it doesn't pass council, it makes no sense to pass the variance.
Okay. So the applicant Ryan Crombie, 201 South 8th Street, South Beloit, on behalf of the property owner, LHC.
Gina,
Oh,
do you swear to tell the truth?
Gina Delrose, Community Development Planner. Applicant Ryan Crombie at 201 South 8th Street, South Beloit, on behalf of the property owner, LHC Properties, at the same address, is requesting a variance to reduce the required setback from residentially zoned property from 300 feet to 150 feet to allow outdoor commercial entertainment to occur 0 feet from residentially zoned property at 622 South State Street on approximately a half acre of land in the Central Business District. Certified mailings were sent out on February 20th, and it was published in the Journal on February 22nd. To the north is Coach's Corner, to the south and east is residential, and to the west is a municipal parking lot. All the adjacent property is central business, except for some single-family residential to the south and east. And the comprehensive plan shows the entire area being central business. The property owner purchased the former Busch Gardens in 2018 and renovated the building prior to reopening the restaurant and bar as Coach's Corner. In 2019, the property owner purchased Municipal Lot 2. Thank you. Purchased Municipal Lot 2, which is the subject property and contains 50 parking spaces. The parking lot is adjacent to and mainly used by patrons of Coach's Corner and Import Only, which is the car repair tenant in the building. Property owner purchased the lot with the intent to utilize it for customer parking and events hosted by Coach's Corner, such as pig roast, poker runs, charity events, fundraisers, etc. Privacy fence will be installed to buffer adjacent residences from the activities. However, the entire property will not be required to have permanent fencing. As building renovations continue, there is the possibility that a portion of the parking lot will be fenced off for a permanent beer garden. The zoning ordinance requires a buffer yard between outdoor commercial entertainment land uses and residentially zoned property. The zoning ordinance also requires the outdoor commercial entertainment land uses be a minimum of 300 feet away from residentially zoned property. The 2 houses to the south of the parking lot are zoned residential. The remaining houses on that block are zoned central business. So the houses to the east that are along Whitney are residential, and about half the houses on 2nd Street, are central business, and about half the houses on 2nd Street are actually zoned central business. Even though they're being used residentially, they're zoned business. But there are 2 houses that are zoned residential. The parking lot is only 131 feet wide, making it impossible to meet the 300-foot setback. The property can be used for other permitted uses in the central business district due to the proximity of the restaurant and bar and the desire to add additional services. The applicant is requesting the variance to reduce the 300-foot setback. If a building would be constructed, it could be built at 0-foot setback, which could create a bigger impact on the neighboring property. The property can continue to be utilized as a parking lot. There is adequate lot size for a structure as well. However, the applicant is requesting the variance in order to hold events in the parking lot that would be in conjunction with the adjacent restaurant and bar and for community organizations. The minimum lot width for the central business district is 10 feet and the minimum size is 2,000 square feet. Bulk regulations often found in an older downtown. The property meets both of these requirements. However, the majority of outdoor commercial entertainment land uses are larger in size, such as swimming pools, driving ranges, golf courses, go-kart tracks, etc., and would not be found downtown. A beer garden is smaller in size and often accessory to an established business and is appropriate in the downtown area. Due to the small lot sizes required downtown, meeting a 300-foot setback to residentially zoned property is difficult. As older properties are redeveloped, zoning relief is often needed due to substandard lot size or existing improvements. Since the central business district allows for 0-foot setbacks, 100% lot coverage, and minimal lot size, variances are often needed. Reduced setbacks, lot coverage, and parking requirements, etc., are unique to the central business district. Requirements such as these are what help to define a neighborhood's character. Staff recommends approval of case number 2019-04 at 622 South State Street.
All right, does the commission have any questions of staff?
I just have one, being not super familiar with the area, is there any anything else in town like this?
There is a bear garden about a block and a half away, on the corner of Buchanan and Main. No, Buchanan and Whitney. Very nice bear garden. She did an amazing job. She has the ability to host bands, cornhole, like, it's the exact same special use. So she has the ability to do whatever outside activities she would like as well. And then there is a smaller bear garden at Dodge Lanes that it's pretty much a fenced-in deck. It was mostly so that people can still have a beer while they're outside smoking, but not big enough to do any kind of activities, really. So Buchanan's bear garden would be the closest.
So is there anything else close to residential then?
Oh my God, I'm blanking on the name. Backstop Bar and Grill. Got permission to use, there's like a covered walkway in front. And again, when bear gardens started really popping up when they disallowed smoking inside, because that was forcing patrons to go outside to have a cigarette. They didn't want to, they were having a hard time policing them not walking out with their beer and their cigarettes. So a lot of beer gardens popped up with that. So Backstop had one. They kind of like put a tarp for their boundary line, and there are houses right next door to that. That would be the closest example. The houses are closer, but I will admit the footprint's much smaller.
Any other questions? Does the applicant have any questions of staff? No. Any interested parties have any questions of staff?
Gina, I have one question. Absent the approval of this variance, would the applicant be able to use the special use for outdoor commercial entertainment in any meaningful way?
No, without the variance, no outdoor commercial entertainment of any kind can take place on the property. So they are directly tied together. And we do have some new plan commission members. So special uses, for the findings of facts, special uses are catered towards, is this good for the neighborhood? Is it going to impede development? Stuff like that. Variances are, is there a hardship on the property? Is there something unique about the property because of the size, the location, the shape, the elevation, stuff like that, that makes it impossible to be used in what the code says is allowable. In this case, the code says outdoor commercial entertainment is allowable if you get the special use. However, because of the size, it's impossible to meet that, so that is the hardship that is allowing them to apply for the variance.
So again, just to clarify, a special variance was approved for Backstop and these other places that were discussed already?
Correct. Special uses were approved. Variances were approved when needed.
So, Terrell said earlier, or advised, that we may decide to table this variance and wait for the city council to approve the special use.
Well, and yes, although,
However,
and after we finish the hearing, if you want to do a straw vote, if you're going to deny it anyway, I guess you can do that, and then we don't take it to council at special use. But I would certainly not pass the variance tonight until the special use passes.
And you can't make a motion to pass the variance contingent.
Variances cannot be conditioned. It's either a yes or no.
Right.
Trust me, there's a lot that I wish I could put conditions on.
Commissioner Ganeva was indicating he's not that familiar with it. This right here is the parking lot that we've been talking about most of the evening. Here's the bank, some other commercial, the former Manley parcel that's now vacant, owned by the city, and then you have a row of commercial residential back in here.
So only this house, which is the white one with the red trim,
and this house are residential. Everything else is central business.
Okay. And then I'm like, Jesse, where's your house at?
Right across from Family Motors, the second approach.
Down in here?
No, you're on Second Street, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're on Second Street, so in here?
Right there.
Yep.
Right next to Percy?
I'm sorry.
One house down from Percy.
Oh, I
I'm
feel
sorry.
bad for you.
And where's 115 Will? Oh, where the Wills?
They're right across the street from the next runway to the south, right across the street.
He doesn't know what Runways is.
He doesn't run them, so they're
I built there.
I know.
We can have a motion to table.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Finish the hearing.
I'm just,
Well, I actually was here for the Pearl Street. Oh, okay.
Okay.
I spent an hour at the county board meeting. I'm sorry. So I missed all of what we're doing. But yeah, so, okay. If you have questions, we can talk after we talk about Pearl Street.
Any further questions? Would the applicant like to make a testimony or
You
statement?
gotta go to Street View too.
Who would hold Street View?
Any interested parties
nice
like to
new
make
equipment
a
you got.
testament or statement? No, okay. Hearing that there's no further, oh, do you have a further question? Or, okay. All right, well then we will close case 2019-04 at 8:17.
And I suppose I would inquire as the commissioner in a straw type of a scenario, is there tend to be a consensus that you'd be approving the variance or? Yeah.
So Ms.
Asking,
Straw.
we can't hold you to it, let's put it that way. You can change your mind in a month if you so choose to table it.
So don't hold the button.
To approve? Is that the consensus of the commission? Anybody who wants to deny it, raise your hand.
Don't hold the button down.
All right, and then a motion to table this until next month.
So moved.
Great.
So I'll take a vote for table.
Yep.
Andy Rice?
Aye.
Daniela Revelo?
Me too.
Aye.
Bob Can, this was to table it, yes. Bob Cantrell?
Aye.
Art Highland?
Yes.
Paul Engelmann?
Aye.
Carl Benega?
Aye.
The motion to table the vote on the variance is approved.
And just so the applicant understands, the special use will go to city council, as Gina outlined earlier. Once that's approved, this will come back in 1 month's time from today's date to the second Tuesday in April to approve the variance. The commission can still deny it at that point if they want to. Nothing that was done here tonight is binding. But obviously, if the council does not approve the special use, this is all moot anyway, so.
Right.
So the variance will be due I'll send out another letter.
Okay. Yeah.
As far as don't pack up yet?
Motion to adjourn.
No, and I'm making you sit separate.
There's a motion, is there a second?
There will be 2 cases next month. Variance for a playground.
This one?
And I have a whole slew of text amendments I've been saving up, so be prepared for that. And then, as you'll notice, we have a brand new plan commission member. He's actually been appointed for 3 months, but you guys haven't met for 3 months. So, Carl, if you want to introduce yourself and maybe give a little bit of background, it's up to you. Put you on the spot.
Hi, I'm Carl.
I'm Carl. Hi.
Hi, Carl.
Glad to be here, glad to be part of this. So.
We introduced to him already.
I know, but if you want a little bit more question time, you can.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
So she's gonna let you, huh?
Okay, closing today's meeting at 8:20.